Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about The Handmaid's Tale, Season 2, Episode 10. It is called The Last Ceremony. Full spoilers for the episode, as always. I'm not going to lie, the title of this one made me uneasy. I was a little bit
I,
worried.
I can see why.
And it opens, and this is actually quite smart in terms of the episode, because it opens with Emily going through a ceremony. And it's kind of neat because we've not seen one of these in a while, so it kind of reminds us exactly how this plays out.
Yeah, I don't think we've had one all season.
Yeah, and obviously here the commander has a heart attack immediately following the conclusion of the ceremony, and
Got a little too excited.
got a little too excited. I did laugh a little bit when the wife is like, "Oh, get help," and she's, it's kind of that thing June does with Serena sometimes, where she knows she'll get away with something because it's technically the thing you're supposed to do for the baby.
Yeah,
It's like,
baby's more important than the commander.
yes, oh, I mean, I should be lying back afterwards. There's greater chance of conception.
Yeah,
Is basically what happens. And I'm like, okay, the optimist in me's thinking that was the last ceremony because the guy died, but I've got a feeling it's not going to be that.
I don't think even an optimist should really be having that thought with this show.
I was hoping because we have a false labor. We have, she gets contractions, and all the handmaids come round, all the wives come round, the commanders are round. We even have that one seated commander being like, "Oh yeah, your handmaid will be free soon. Mine's expiring. They have an expiry date."
Well, I assume that's menopause.
Yes, I wonder if they've got an agreed upon age where they just decide that's the cut off.
Maybe. Yeah.
Because the way he said it, it's like they're expecting it soon.
I mean, it's within a certain age range, right?
It
So I
is, but
mean,
it's not an exact.
it's not exact, but I guess he's like, well, I mean, I've only got so long.
Yeah, but it sounds like he wants to poach June, and obviously Nick's over here, and even the commander looks a little bit uneasy that you're taking my handmaid. What are you doing?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, but yeah, so they all come round, and it turns out that it's a false labour, and Aunt Lydia's like, even, it feels the best of us, maybe
Yeah.
next time the contractions, then that would give us help. And they have the gynecologist round who checks her, and he's like, no, we're not inducing labour, because Serena's like desperate to have this done. She's like, no, that's
I did think it was a little meta how just last week we were like, so is this pregnancy going to be the end of is it going to be at the end of the season, the birth? And we weren't sure.
and it was teasing as this episode. It was
And
like,
yeah, it was. And then the gynecologist was like, yeah, this baby ain't coming anytime soon. I was
okay,
like, maybe it will be the end of the season then.
maybe it will be. Although that we end this episode in such a place where it might not be in the house with the family. We'll see where we end
Yeah.
up. But yeah, so Serena's pissed at her, and again, I love June's little shit-eating grin when she knows Serena's unhappy about something. And the nurse comes in, she rushes in, she's got the white gown on because it's your baby's getting born. She rushes in, her hair's down, which we rarely see, and she's so devastated. June is just smirking. She's just got this smirk on her face, which
I've
is,
wasted all your time,
and of
and I've
course,
got longer.
this episode's about to get dark as shit. And it builds up to the darkest shit because I mean, hell, before we even get to that, Serena goes to the commander, and so, oh, I'm going to be leaving soon, and he's kind of sympathetic. Well, I say sympathetic, that's not the right word, but he pretends to care. He's going along with it, and of course, and once it got clear where she was going with this, kind of like it was very similar to the scene with Serena, a few episodes ago,
Mm.
where Serena had been nice to her until she asked to see her daughter in some capacity, and then Serena completely changed, right?
Yeah.
This felt like it was going to go the exact same way, which it did. She's like, hey, can you make sure I'm in the same district as my daughter? And she even, caps off with, if that's in your power to do that. And he just gets offended.
Yeah.
How dare
So
you presume what I have in my power? And
I think that's the key difference between his reaction and Serena's. For
mm,
Serena, it was seeing the daughter, it was the jealousy of her getting to be a mother. For him, it was the insinuation that he hasn't got the ultimate power.
yeah, it's that, and then it's just the idea of, oh, I've been too lenient on you. I've been too kind.
Yeah.
Get out. And it's like, and she turns right, like she's almost leaving. She's walking out, and then she turns back, and it's like, oh, you don't know what it's like to lose a child. You don't know what it's like to have a child of your own flesh and blood. And I knew what she was going to say. I was like, she's going to say you never will. She's going to
Yeah.
say it, and she did. So he's not went and confirmed it with anyone. He's not spoken to Serena. He's not asked about it. But he knows the insinuation is there that baby's
Well,
not his.
Yeah, partially, but I mean, it wasn't only in this scene. She's like, no, She says she's lost one child already, and she's like, oh no, I'm gonna lose another one. And
Mm.
obviously, she's referring to it won't be hers, but given the precocious nature of the pregnancy, it's almost a threat of this baby might not be born. I feel like that's why I feel like she was almost threatening it. It's like, there's no guarantees here.
Oh, I didn't get that at all.
Do you not?
No, I got that as that's not your baby. That's the way that
That's
line
fair.
read to me.
That final line definitely, but I think because of the earlier line where she kind of said, "Oh, I'm going to lose another one." When she said that, it felt like there was a double meaning of I might actually lose this baby, not all
Oh,
of us.
I honestly never even that never even entered my mind. That's obviously because
Fair
we've
enough.
thought that multiple times, where she's kind of threatened Serena with a similar kind of threat.
Yeah.
Uh, but for me, this was just purely like this was her sly way of telling him this wasn't even yours.
No, fair
Um,
enough.
and whether or not he's gotten to that conclusion and he believes it thoroughly, but the look in his face says that he's at least understanding the implication.
Hmm.
But yeah, so then he talks to Serena the next day. He's like, "Oh yeah, work was hell." Blah blah blah. And Serena is, again, it's almost like the end of the pregnancy and the thought of finally getting a baby. I don't want to say it's making Serena forget everything that's bad that's happened to her recently with the commander, but it feels like, oh, all of that will be washed aside because now I have my joy, my pride, my child. Blessed day.
Yeah.
She's really leaning into it, and we've seen this before. Whenever things seem harder for her, she leans into the role and the power that she's supposed to have as a wife of a commander, as a future mother. She leans into that even more when she's threatened by something, and they're in her greenhouse, and she's like, "Oh, the doctor doesn't want you in just the labour. We might have to try the natural way." And there's this moment where he kind of looks up and he looks down again, and he looks back up, and the music's kind of there, and it's letting you know what she means by that.
Yeah.
And obviously, and I think what's really impressive about this is that it makes you really uneasy, despite the fact that we should almost be used to what happens with the ceremony at this point.
Yeah, it's because we've seen it a lot, and not this season. We saw it a lot
Yeah,
in season one.
but there's this sinister because it's been a while, presumably since she's been with the commander, lately since conception. At least that's what it's supposed to have been like.
Yeah, no,
From what
no
we've seen.
reason for him to be,
And
shacking up with her.
she was gone for a while. She came back. She was already showing. Like
Well, I mean, they're saying, oh, there's a couple of weeks left, so it's gonna be more or less 9 months.
yeah, yeah. But what I'm saying is that first period where theoretically he would have, secretly wanted more, sex or whatever.
Yeah,
She was gone, and then she came back, and he tried that once, and then she's like, no, it's bad for the baby, and got rid of him that way.
yeah,
Which is even more of a sort of hard scene now, given that what eventually happens here. And I think the thing with the ceremony is obviously it's rape, right? It's always been rape. There's
yeah,
never been any any side way of looking at it that says that it isn't. You think the commanders and the wives certainly maybe don't think of it that way. They try and convince themselves that it's not. It's a ceremony. This is God's will. This is what we're going to do. And I think for me that's. I mean, obviously it's horrible for June in the scene because she's held down against her will. Because as many times as she's been raped by the commander in this kind of scenario, this was the first time at least we have seen where she's actually fought back and she's been
yeah.
held down. And
I think they're always held down. If I recall, the wives hold the arms back
yeah, but it's like a very like they willingly put their I say willingly, but like
as willingly as they do.
yeah,
Yeah,
the arms go down, and maybe during the actual thing their arms tense up a little bit, and the wives hold them down, but it's never like actually trying to kick away. It's at least from
no,
what we've seen. I mean, it probably does happen. I imagine.
especially with new handmaids, right?
Yeah, I imagine it probably has happened with every handmaid across the country. Especially in the earlier days. But we've never seen it. We've never seen June actually try and kick free. I guess this is the weirdest sentence I've ever said, and the traditional way that rape works, if that makes any sense. But you know what I mean by that, where
I do. Yeah,
yeah, where,
to fight to resist.
to fight to resist, to be sort of powered down into the act, and June's holding, June's being held down by Serena because when June realizes what's about to happen, she's on the bed and the door's getting shut. She tries to like, no, this is a bad idea. Please, don't, no, this is bad. Serena just like grabs her and forcibly holds her down. They both do, and it's like it's almost like this has always been assisted rape. It always has been that, but this was the first time it just like they're both holding her down physically. This
I
is
think the difference is, even though it was rape before, there was an element of being willing, because they weren't, they weren't outright fight. They'd kind of become docile and accepted what they were, right?
Yeah.
That was kind of, that's why they're all still there, is they're not actively fighting back. They're just kind of going along with it. This is life now, so they just have to go through with it because that's what they have to do, even though they don't like it. And we see it.
Yeah, it's still by force. It's just not physical force in the scene itself.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas here, she's showing that she doesn't want to be involved. Whereas usually there is no outward show of that.
Yeah, and they actually have to hold her down, and it is this team up. It's like, because this is the thing. Like, any kind of like empathy that Serena might have garnered from us in the last couple of episodes just went flying out the window.
Yep, pretty much.
Like, she's actually holding her down as she's screaming and trying to kick away. It is awful to watch. It is absolutely horrible.
I thought it was really interesting how different the camera was to, again, they showed us at the start of the episode to remind us it's always really up close, these really tight angles. Whereas this, it pulled back and it showed us from the side, like an angle that we've never seen during this ceremony before.
Because you could see the whole thing from that angle. It was like, here's the harsh reality of the whole thing playing out. It was very stark. I think that was a very intentional camera choice. And I think the big thing character-wise in this scene is that this is the first time Serena and the Commander have had to do it like this. And I think that should have an impact on them. And we see it in the Commander, because Commander gives her a gift after this. And it reeks of, he actually, I think he actually kind of feels guilty after this scene. Like, because as he's leaving the room, he kind of stops and looks back at her as June's just lying on the bed, kind of defeated. She's just broken.
Yeah.
And he's walking out, and he's out of focus. He focuses on her, but he sort of looks back and then walks out. And then later on, he comes in and says, "Oh, I've got a present for you, and I think you're going to like it." This was also horrible, because this felt like, this was like when like a husband who beats his wife feels bad that he's beat the shit out of her, so he then goes and buys her a necklace, thinking, "Oh, that'll make it all okay. That's fine. Yeah. That's guilt removed, right? I am absolved of my sins because I bought her a necklace."
It's a very selfish way of getting rid of the guilt. It's not the gift for her, as much as she'll obviously appreciate it. But it's just so that he can feel better about himself. Yeah,
that is exactly what it is. So I don't know how they keep doing this, but somehow they keep making Serena and the Commander even more despicable human beings. Or they somehow keep finding ways just to make them worse and worse.
It's pretty impressive.
is shockingly impressive. So sure enough, she gets taken out to this, Nick takes her away. Of course, before we even get to this final scene, we should mention some of Nick's stuff with Eden. Eden, of course, flirting. I mean, honestly, in any other context, it wouldn't even be that flirty, but in the context of this world, where everything's so, like, sheltered and everyone's like, him just saying, "Oh, that sounds nice," when they're at the store, and she's like, "Oh, I'll make this soup or whatever tonight," and he's like, "Oh, that sounds nice." And obviously the big thing here is that he's actually sounding more appreciative than Nick does. That's the big attraction for her in the scene, more than anything. And there's an awkward moment there, and then later on she's taking stuff outside, and of course she has that moment when they bring June back home and they think she's pregnant, or she's pregnant, you know what I mean, when they think she's going to give birth, and Nick's holding her up and he's taking her up the stairs, and they have these looks at each other, and Eden, it's perfectly framed because Eden's in the middle between them. Like they're each side, and then Eden's in the middle between them in the back. It's really well done, and so she can see something, and then she actually ends up being kissed by this guardian right outside. It's nighttime. She went out to take out the trash. They start kissing, and Nick's outside and he sees it, and I was like, okay, Nick's going to see this, and I was thinking like, does he still play the part of reacting to this, and then, making her realise, okay, this is, you could be hanged for this, or at least be made a handmaid, but I'll be the nice guy and not do that, and then like she'll have like a reason not to, like,
do it again.
Not all just that, but even if she suspects something about him later, like she'll have a reason not to want to turn him in because he's got something on her. Yeah. But he sees her, and she pulls away immediately from the guardian. She runs up, and she comes in, and she's like, "Oh, please forgive me," and she starts, very harshly praying for forgiveness and please. And
he's just like, it's fine, whatever.
It's fine, you're not in trouble. It's okay, don't worry about it. And what cracks me up about this is that even in a real world, even in this world, right? If you saw your wife kissing another man, you would react more than this.
Yeah, you're allowed to be angry.
But he's like, that's fine, whatever. You're not in trouble. It's not a big deal. It's fine. And this just upsets her more because she's like, wait, you just
You
caught
don't
me
even
cheating.
care.
Yeah, why do you not care? And she questions it, and then she lands on, it's the handmaid, isn't it? And he's not looking at her at this point. You know, he's looking away. And he turns around, he's like, I would never get involved with a handmaid. That would be suicide. As I just wrestle my cat off the keyboard. Good night, cat. Very good. You're in trouble, cat. Right. So, no, and he obviously tries to, say no, that would never happen because of this. But he doesn't deny that he's got feelings for her. That's, I think, very key in this scene.
Yeah.
He never does that. So it's almost like he's by omission he is admitting that, okay, there's something there, but I would never do that, even though we know he has. But that would be suicide. That serious trouble. Which may or may not be connected to the men at the end of the episode, but we'll get to that through the scene, because Commander has him take June out to this house, middle of the forest. It's snowing now. We're dead in winter, and we get to this house, and June's still a wreck. She's in the back. She's not saying anything. And I think most people watching the show, I assume you kind of knew where this was going, like, what the present was.
Yeah, I feel like it's pretty clear.
It's pretty obvious it's going to be her daughter. See her, if not actually get to have a conversation with her, which is what it turns out to be.
The only real thing it could have been, right?
Yeah. And guessing there's a guardian there who's obviously been ordered to let this happen, and he's like 10 minutes. There's a Martha who presumably lives with Hannah, who's now Agnes, I think the new name is. And she comes in, and it kind of dawned on me before the scene happened when I realised what was about to play out. Is like, it's been a couple of years. She was really young. Like, how much of June is she going to remember? Like,
yeah,
how much has she changed since she's been with June
and
last?
even if she does remember, how much has she just been told other things repeatedly for 2 years, maybe?
And she, June hugs her and kisses her, and she's like all teary-eyed. And then Hannah pulls away and she hides behind the Martha. And I think what's very impressive...
kind of terrified.
She does, yeah. And I think what's really impressive about this scene is, June kind of understands why she is this way. She's obviously hurt by it, but she understands, and she kind of, works through it. Asks about her new parents. Asks, are they nice to you? Do they hit you? And I like that the Martha even jumps in and says, oh, only twice, And,
yeah, because she says that they hit me, when I do something bad.
Yeah. And she's like, no, only twice, implying that it's not like a constant thing where it's just every, like,
no, it has to be something really bad for them to have done it. Or bad by this world's standards, obviously.
Yeah, and of course she's asking the Martha, take care of her, so on. And the Guardian tries to take her away, and she's just kind of starting to like connect with her again. And it's actually when she runs back out and hugs her again that Hannah kind of opens up and remember, because she's like, oh, I'll always be your mother. I always love you. Dad will always love you. And Hannah asks the question, is this the last time I'm ever going to see you? Am I going to see you again? And I'm like, what did June say to this? Because, like, all likelihood says no. This was a once-in-a-lifetime thing, in this world's context. And she says, and quite honestly, I'm going to bloody well try. That wasn't the exact phrasing. I'm embellishing a little bit.
You're Britishing it up a little.
Yes, but that's essentially what it is. I'm going to bloody well try. And she smells as she says it, because we know she's determined to fight when the opening presents itself. Yeah. But here's the thing. So during this scene, obviously it's a touching moment to be with Hannah again. We've been kind of building up to this since the start of the show. That's been a thing since the start of the show, is this reunion. And the idea that she's like, because that's the whole thing, she gives her advice, she's like, hey, be good, do what your parents tell you, keep yourself safe.
And enjoy life.
Enjoy life the best you can and under the circumstances.
Yeah.
Because the idea is if she is going to like rescue her at some point and take her away, she has to be alive for that to happen. So don't break any of their rules. Like do what you're supposed to. Because at least right now, it's not like she's automatically going to become a handmaid. She'll be a wife for someone when she hits 15, 16.
Yeah, they only become a handmaid if they do something wrong.
Yeah. So I think first and foremost, it makes sense that June would want to tell her that. And she even has to explain, I'm pregnant, I won't get to, keep the baby. She understands that. So she understands some of the workings of this world. She's been taught some of it. And so what I was curious though during this scene is the Guardian's like, no, we have to go now, and he kind of rushes them out. And again, it happens where Because Hannah eventually doesn't want to go, and she's trying to fight her way back. And June actually runs out of the house crying, even though Nick tries to hold her back a little bit. She still runs out, and she hugs Hannah again, tells her to go. No, go with the Martha. She'll keep you safe, because she knows it'll just cause more problems if she doesn't, convince her to go willingly. But I was thinking, okay, so what's the rush? Why all of a sudden is this Guardian determined to leave now? What's because he said 10 minutes. It's not been 10 minutes. Why is he edgy? What's happening? What's on its way? And Nick and June are inside the house, and then these cars pull up, and Nick's like, "Stay in here, hide. I'll be right back." He goes to talk to them, and these Guardians, the eye members, whatever we're calling them, don't believe Nick's story that he's here checking this for the commander, even though Waterford did send him here. Which, and he's beaten. Nick tries to fight back. He does a decent job of it. He tries to grab one of their guns and take them both down, but he is taken. He is beaten and he's taken in the car, and they take his car as well. So June can't drive that one. That's important to note. They take his car too. And I'm like, is this just okay? They caught suspicious activity that's not meant to be happening, so Nick will be off the hook once Waterford steps in, or is this something to do with Eden? Is this something to do with?
I think it is something to do with Eden, and I think she went to the commander, and the commander's setting him up. If the thing is he's been with a handmaid, what better way to catch him than he's ran off with my handmaid into a cottage in the woods?
That makes a lot of sense. I can't fault
that. So he's sent him there, and then tipped them off, going right. He's there. Go pick him up. He'll have the handmaid with him.
Yeah, which would because obviously the other thing is that she's left there on her own. She is left stranded at this house. She ends up running through the forest in the snow. There is nothing or no one nearby. So, I guess the fact that she runs from the house indicates that we could still have a June on the run kind of plot here.
We could, but to what end?
To what end? Given that she's so close to giving birth, right? She's 9 months pregnant. She is ready to pop.
And it's pretty bad weather out there.
And it's pretty bad weather. But at the same time, because I wonder if this is all the commander's doing, he must surely be expecting to just send someone to pick her up 5 minutes later, right?
Yeah.
But she's been running off. So, does she just get grabbed quite quickly next episode?
Unless, knowing now that it's not his child, he doesn't want to raise that. He doesn't want to raise that child.
Yeah.
So he's like, just leave her out there, let her die.
That could be a thing.
I don't know, but maybe.
I could see that. That makes a lot of sense. I do think it would be a little bit cheap just to have her grabbed really quickly, because I think this ending feels like a big wait. She's out there on her own. She's in the snow. To have her just grabbed within the first 5 minutes would feel a little bit like a letdown, just in terms of I thought we were going to get
a cliffhanger. Yeah. It's kind of just whatever.
It'd make it a shitty cliffhanger. Yeah, it's basically the complaint. I'm sure the rest of the episode from then on would be fine, but
it would leave this moment that we've got now feeling underwhelmed.
Because now it's like, wait, is this the push? Does she try and escape again? Because I feel like, given that we know that once she gives birth, she's going to be sent away, I don't think we're going to lose all those characters. Because if she's sent away, we lose the commander. Waterford, we lose Serena. We lose Nick if he's not already just going to be dead, because we've been speculating that. We lose so many characters, and while her escaping would mean, okay, we'll just have to cut to them away from her, if we see them. I do feel like post-birth there has to be a slightly different plot in the way the show works.
I think she gets the baby out, but she can't go for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
And she has to go back to, given then, okay, that they haven't got a child. If she just, claims that it died out in the snow, right? And she just has to go back to them and be their handmaid again, right? And then
Serena's,
you have this.
Serena's going to be thrilled about this,
right? Exactly, and then you have that relationship change to play with of them all knowing what's been going on, with whose child's whose. And Serena being like, I thought I was rid of you, and now here you are stuck here again for, however long. I don't know. I can see there being something to it.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there has to be a status quo shift of some kind beyond the birth in this season. And I don't know what season 3 is. I really don't know.
No, we know we're getting it, but...
Yeah, we do know we're getting it. and I'm not sure. Like, do we get what we thought we were getting this year? Where it's going to be a season of her escaping. Like, this is going to be the great escape,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Do we get her back at the house, but it's more of like a great escape style in the sense that it's planning the escape all season. Like, she's getting small pieces, she's making contacts subtly and quietly. And
Yeah, maybe her actively being a bit of a spy.
yeah, maybe that could be a thing. But no, it's interesting. I'm interested to see where we go. I genuinely don't know. I think that's kind of exciting. It's exciting that I have no idea where they're going after this baby's born.
Yeah, like I say, like I'm thinking. Let's say she gets the baby free, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then she chooses to go back to be a spy, right? To give them the inside information somehow. That could be interesting. They're her choosing to go back and try and fight from the inside.
Yeah, because that would be a big character shift for her, because that would be like, for the first time, this is a choice. Like, she could have got out and she made the choice to come back. Not that that makes any of the things happening to her less awful. They're all still completely awful, but she's making the choice to endure them for a purpose.
Yeah, I think it's different is the point.
It's different in terms of motivation, yeah, and certainly sort of her own conviction as a character.
Yeah.
Because I think obviously there's a great deal of sympathy for all the characters in this show, not the villainous ones, but like all the handmaids and so on. Anyone who is in this world who doesn't belong there and doesn't want to be there, but it's all sympathy right now, and you recognise strength in her. You're rooting for her. You're rooting for all these characters, especially June. I think that would change the dynamic a little bit for the audience, in that instead of just feeling sympathetic for her, there's like a proactive side to it. Where
it's a bigger picture thing, right? Rather than just wanting to survive, you wanted to succeed, so she can pull off the mission.
Yeah, it's the idea of being proactive. It's the idea of it's like characters are just on the run from something, but then they say, you know what, we're going to turn around and we're going to fight back. That's that's the choice that potentially we could be building to here. It's hard to say. There's a couple of small moments I really like. I like the moment where Rita just says, "Oh, I'll tell the baby about you." Like I'll tell her about her mother. I also like the moment where Fred sends them off to go to the house and he kisses June in the head, and she looks just disgusted.
She almost flinches as he comes in.
Yeah, she sort of closes and she's like she has to contain it. Again, really great little moments. Obviously, the acting throughout, as per usual, is fantastic. I thought the scene where she goes to Commander Waterford to ask the favour, when she's like at the start of the scene, she says something along the lines of, "Oh, you've been a kind commander, kinder than other commanders would have," but obviously he's been awful, right? And I loved the acting in that line, that couple of lines of dialogue. I think are delivered perfectly, where she's faking it. We can tell she's faking it, but it sounds genuine enough to him. Like I
think it's just because there's just enough potential truth in it. In the way, last season, the way he gave her a little bit of freedom, right? When he let her into the office, he let her play Scrabble.
Yeah.
There's just enough truth that is probably kinder than some other commanders are.
I don't know. I think I'd debate that being kindness when it was all a motive. It was all just an ulterior motive to lead to Jezebels, to lead to other sexual acts.
No, I agree, but I think he probably sees it as a nice way of doing it, a kindness to her.
Oh yeah, he probably sees it that way. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why I think he can look at it and go, "There's enough truth in there for me to believe her," because he believes that he was doing it. Oh, sure,
yeah. But you can hear her almost throwing up as she delivers that line. Yeah. And I think that's the beauty of it. It's the beauty in the delivery. Because obviously Emily's like broken. Because June's trying to talk to her at the start of just before contractions start.
She's not really having any of it.
Because she's like, "Oh, you'll see your son again. I promise." They got out to Canada. You'll see them again. And she's like, I'm not his mother anymore. Not really. And it's like, "No, you are. You love him." Like, she's trying to and it's this idea of strength. And maybe that'll be like, even if we go through a lot of turmoil over the rest of the season into the start of season 3, maybe one of the victories we could have is that she'll inspire Emily to fight back as well. Don't just give up. We can fight together. There'll be a camaraderie there that we can build back to.
Yeah, it could be. Do you know what I'm really looking forward to? It's just dawned on me. The giving birth in the snow and all the just the snow changing color.
Oh, I
It's
was
going to
looking.
be gorgeous.
We said this last season. I'm sure there was some scenes in the snow last season. But this episode, when when she came outside at the end on her own, and it was a top down shot of just her in the red cloak,
Yeah.
and it's just all white snow, but she's in the red.
That's it. It's the color contrast that I know it's just gonna, especially I can trust all the camera work on this show to just be. It's gonna look fantastic
Oh yeah, absolutely will.
in the worst possible way.
In the worst possible way. Yeah. No. All of its moments are always handled very well, and this show deals with so many like different degrees of tension and drama and outright horror. I mean, I think this is something actually I was thinking about during the rape scene. Essentially, is that so many movies will throw in a rape scene for easy drama, for easy. Oh,
it's almost easy points, right?
It's easy points to hate the villain, and and if the victim's someone who survives,
give sympathy.
and it's this cheap tactic, and it is overused. It's just thrown around there, especially if you go back to like horror movies from the 80s and 70s. It's just rape revenge movies were a thing, and they throw it in as such an easy ploy. And honestly, 99 times out of 100, a rape scene in a movie probably didn't need to be there, right? It's usually unsympathetic. It's usually just crude. Oh, this'll do the drama we need it to do easily without any tactics. Where this show, because the plot revolves around it, and because the dramatic points that have been made in this scene, it is the most justifiable rape scene I think I've ever seen in a piece of entertainment.
It's downright essential to have rape scenes in this show.
It's what we're exploring. We're exploring how women are treated by these awful men in this awful society.
I think if you don't show rape scenes in this show, you're not doing it right. Frankly, you're hiding away from one of the core elements of what the story's about.
You're neutering it, to use a word to sum it up.
Yeah,
you're not actually showing the true horror of it, and it's always been horrific. But I remember my reaction in I think episode 1 of the show. The way they filmed it, I thought was a little bit weird and silly
because it was so clinical.
Yeah, it was so clinical. It was kind of bizarre and not quite fitting to the way you think a rape scene is going to look like. And I think it's actually kind of genius in retrospect, especially now seeing this version of it later on, is that it's showing you how. I mean, that original episode showed you how normal this has become. How they treat this as if it is just this.
It's a monthly event.
Yeah, it's a ceremony. There you go. Whereas this is like, no, here's your Old Testament rape, I suppose, is the phrase you could use to describe it. So I just it's dealing with such harsh things, but it's using them and it's exploring them, and this is what the story's about, and it's a fundamental part of this. Because I think so many things will use rape. It's just an easy way to do there's a villain, you're going to hate him because he raped someone. And at the same time, the other side of the spectrum is there's stories that will try to be hard hitting, but they won't be willing to actually bring in some of the topics that will actually what they're actually talking about. They'll try and hint at sexual assault without actually ever addressing it itself. Yeah, not even showing it. You don't always have to show it necessarily.
No, but I think sometimes you do.
Yeah, and this
show.
This show needs to. This show is such a huge part of it. Like, it's the sort of thing where they could have maybe handled it differently at the start, where they could have went a few episodes with just talking about it, and we'd hear about it, but would we believe it? Like, it's kind of weird, like ceremonialized rape that they do every month. Like, and then you reveal it a few episodes in and finally show it, and it's like, no, this is just what they were saying. But anyway, it was a surprise. Handmaid's Tale had another great episode, full of great camera work and performances and dramatic moments, horrifying moments, a few little touching moments here or there.
Hell of a cliffhanger, which sometimes can't always say that about this show because it doesn't usually go for them.
I think it's because this one generally comes out of kind of nowhere. Like, as much as, okay, once he says, I've got you a present, you know where he's going to go. But even when you hear that, okay, we'll get a really emotional scene with the daughter. He's probably going to knock it out of the park. But then she'll come back, and that'll be the end of the episode. Right?
Yeah.
I don't think, not until, like, Nick starts getting worried, there's like, okay, where's this going? Like, what's happening here?
Something's going on.
So we end with her on her own in the snow, out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
I mean, if this wasn't intended by the commando, this is such a bizarre, like, oh, this is kind of an escape opportunity. I just have to get somewhere.
It's almost too coincidental, right? If it's not.
Yeah. It depends. It depends. Because I could buy. It depends why those eye were out here looking at the house and why they were suspicious. Because given how the world works in here, I don't think it's that outrageous to think that they would be suspicious.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't think that would feel weird to me. That said, my money out right now is on Commander is setting them up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But hey, we'll find out.
He's a slimy little bastard, isn't he?
We'll find out next week. But yeah, you go, Handmaid's Tale. So let us know what you thought of this one in the comments below. Like and subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv. You can do that over there. My cat is lying in a really weird way where his head's up against the monitor like that. He's just kind of... lie somewhere else. You can put your head wherever you want. But yeah, so... yeah, get us on Patreon. You can see all the shows we've got on there. There's links to all the audio feeds and everything. So you can do that. Also, me and Tim, who's on the channel, do horror movie reviews every week called Screams After Midnight. You can check out those every week. We did Nightmare on Elm Street 4 was the last movie we did. Go and have a look at that.
How many of those rape revenge movies have you done on there yet?
0, I think.
Yeah. I'm surprised with the amount of shit you've covered.
I don't think it's a genre either one of us particularly wants to watch that much.
That's fair. I just figured that one would have been on the radar at some point.
I'm sure we'll get to a couple of the famous ones eventually, but like I don't think it's a genre either one of us is actively like, oh, let's do a month based on this theme.
That'd be a horrific month.
Yeah, it's not because I mean it's it's something me and Tim have spoken about before because it is horror movies that sometimes do that cheap tactic of just putting in a rape because it's something we've complained about together on that show. Sometimes they'll put it in,
just because.
Yeah, so this is the backstory. The girl was raped, and that's why everything's happening. And it's like, okay, this movie did not need that to make the story work.
Yeah.
So anyway, but that's us. So check out that. Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for watching and listening. We appreciate it loads. Keep watching TV, guys. We'll see you next time. Have you got any vanilla?